departments. So on behalf of Justice Services, Joe Smilek.
Good morning.
On behalf of Department of Development, Vaughn Johnson.
Good morning.
On behalf of HR, Sarah Nemisil.
Good morning.
And then on behalf of the Office of Diversity, Lenore Lockett.
Good morning, thank you.
And then I'm David Merriman. I'm here on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services. So we have a quorum. I will start with a review and approval of the minutes. The minutes have been presented and are available for comment. Is there any amendment or additions or edits to the minutes? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes have been approved. Move on to public comment. Has anybody signed in for public comment?
We haven't received any public comment in person or on our email for the Equity Commission.
We'll move on to opening remarks. I'll turn to my left. I'll ask Jill if there's anything she'd like to share.
Sure. Good morning. So last time we met before the holidays, I gave an update that we were tentatively moving forward on a couple of different projects, and I just wanted to report back that we've made some good progress on both of those. The first one is a workforce diversity program for first responders and public safety professionals across the community. So that's not necessarily county employees, but it's sort of trying to centralize information and resources regarding civil service testing, postings, job postings that are available for police, fire, EMS, and emergency management throughout the community to make that information more accessible, more understandable, so that people who are interested in those careers can more readily assess, like, oh, this community is hiring or this community is hiring. That's just the first step of it, and from there we want to try to streamline some of the testing processes because candidates have to pay for multiple tests, they have to sit for multiple tests, and that can be cost prohibitive. So we're really trying to work with communities to open that process up a little bit. So we're excited for that project moving forward. We also have our Assistance to Firefighters Grants, local match assistance. So AFG that's federal funding that comes through Homeland Security. However, a local match is required, and we were approved in our budget for this year to assist communities to make their local match when they apply for an AFG grant. And we will be using the equity zones as established by this group and Lenora and her group to make sure that we are targeting our resources into communities that are at the highest level of need. So we are moving forward with that, which is really great. We weren't sure if we would have that money in our budget or not, and we do, which is wonderful. And the only other update that I have is that we're moving forward with an awareness campaign for the opioid settlement fund that we have. So that awareness campaign will be targeting messages around the importance of harm reduction for people who are using recreational drugs. So it's less about just say no and more about if you're going to do this, there are safe or safer ways to do this. And we're using zip code data to make sure that that information is targeted into areas that are experiencing higher levels of opioid overdoses. We're also looking at data for Narcan deserts, so areas where carrying Narcan is less common and accessing free Narcan is harder, and making sure that those communities have that resource available to them. So we're working with some community-based partners, faith-based partners, and others to take that message out into the community. So we're excited to launch that campaign. I think beginning of March is when the first ads will start to show.
Great. Are there any questions for Jill? Vaughn.
Thank you. Since our last meeting, the Department of Development has continued our mission of inclusive economic development and supporting several significant MBE programs and initiatives. And I just want to give some updates and highlights on a few that we have been working on. First of all, as I mentioned in a previous meeting, we are engaged with supporting minority developers and discussing our programs and partnerships and working with them. Right now we're working with 3 minority developers with some significant projects under works. The next one is we've continued to reach out to the 67 stimulus grant winners and partnering them with additional resources. The next one is very significant. We have just wrapped up the Small Business Supports RFQ, which is a $3 million competitive grant program that's spread out over 2 years to support the organizations that support minority businesses with technical assistance and access to capital. The county does a lot of things, but one of the things that we don't do is technical assistance to small businesses. We don't make microloans. So we fund those organizations that can provide those services and those programs to MBEs. The other thing I want to share is in 2023, our capital partners reported that they helped 660 minority business enterprises with technical assistance and funding, with about $1.3 million in county funding. The next one I want to mention is, I think we talked before about the Skill Up program, which has sunset, but I did want to mention that through Skill Up's initial launch in 2017, Skill Up trained almost 1,500 employees or Cuyahoga County residents, and nearly half of those are people of color. And then the last one is the Office of Small Business, which Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronayne announced in April of 2023. We are getting really close to announcing that, the formation of it, the completion of it, and it will have an MBE component. The MBE landscape and businesses have talked to us about what this office should provide. And one of those areas it will provide is having an eye on MBEs. So we've been busy, as you can see. That's what we've been up to since the last time we met.
Great. Are there any questions for Vaughn? Sarah?
Good morning, Sarah Nemistil, Department of Human Resources. So in terms of human resources, current equity initiatives, we started just toward the end of the year a pay equity study for all non-bargaining employees. We are continuing to work with an outside consultant who is looking specifically for peer equity and compression issues in all non-bargaining positions, and we're working on that diligently and hoping that the study is completed within the first half of 24. So we're excited about that. Also, I am participating in an executive coaching with Dr. Marlon Moore and other members of county leadership to learn basically how HR can facilitate countywide equity initiatives and how we can strategically work with the Department of Equity and Inclusion, Health and Human Services, PSJS, and as well as our external boards and commissions like the CASE and the Advisory Committee on Persons with Disability to basically learn how we can best work together and use resources to implement these initiatives countywide. Our talent team is exploring with Director Simeon Bess on how we can incorporate reentry initiatives into our workforce and talent acquisition strategy. And in terms of wellness, our wellness platform launched on February 6th, and we're really taking a holistic view of wellness this year to include review of social determinants that can affect the health, work culture, and environment of our employees, and those include equity barriers often. So transportation access is one of those social determinants. So one of our first events we did was a Learn and Earn RTA 101, where employees could, they earned 50 wellness points if they attended the webinar, and it was very well attended in person and online, from what I understand. Basically just to learn how to ride the bus and how to make use of the $19 bus pass that we provide as a benefit to employees if they, want to purchase a monthly bus pass for purposes of getting to work or wherever they want to go. And last, but certainly not least, most recently, on February 13th, County Council unanimously approved our expanded paid parental leave on Tuesday. So we're really proud of that and excited. And look out for HR is going to be sending some FAQs and some additional information. So that was really a great thing and a step in the right direction. I also have Kim Coleman here with me today. Kimberly is our HR manager, and she's co-chair of Human Resources DE&I Committee. And Kim is going to talk about the committee's initiatives for this year and what we're looking at in quarter one.
Good morning. So our committee has been hard at work for the past couple of years. One of our signature initiatives is we have a panel discussion series, Can We Talk? Conversations That Matter. So for the first quarter of this year, we are looking forward to planning an event that is focusing on how we can keep our DEI efforts strong in this current climate of attacks on the true meaning of DEI and the misrepresentation of what that means for corporations. So we are looking towards having that discussion towards the end of March. So everybody be on the lookout. You'll receive more information on that. And also we are working towards putting together a group to start the initiative for employee resource groups here at Cuyahoga County. So we know our executive administration is heavily supportive of that. So we are working on trying to establish that program here at Cuyahoga County. So also be on the lookout for more information on that. Thank you.
Any questions for Sarah or Kim? Before I move on to Lenore, I just wanted to say, Sarah, congratulations on the paid parental leave and for your leadership on that. For employees that choose to have families, I think we have made ourselves a very, very marketable employer, and I think we're establishing a culture of respect and support that I think goes a long way. And I think you've shown great leadership on that, and we just appreciate you and County Council's kind of investment in our employees and their families. Congratulations.
Thank you, David.
Lenora, anything to share?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. 2024 has been a hectic year already and is continuing on that path. For the Department of Equity and Inclusion, we have several initiatives that we're developing and plan to implement in this calendar year. In January, just to go revisit, in January, my staff and the training department with HR, we were participating in the train the trainer so that we can provide sustainable DEI training to county employees and managers that's similar to the training that has been provided in the past by Tri-C. We're also proceeding with our annual What's Next kickoff. Continues on the principle of all in. That's scheduled for March 14th. The content for that is based on the survey that was part of the January In the Know. The topics of desire by employee response was work-life balance at 50.9% and workplace accountability at 29.6%. So we'll be developing content regarding that area for the county. We look to have, as I stated, the kickoff in March 14th, and we plan to have the classes and webinar sessions in September, similar format as we did last year. We're also working on the county vendor fair. Last year we did the vendor fair in July. We had a positive response, positive participation. We're looking this year to have it 3 times. That's in April, on April 11th, July 18th, and in October, on October 17th. In addition, we have other initiatives that are more information will become soon. We're looking at a Tri-C is providing a poverty simulation for a county, and we're looking to have that more details to come on that soon. We're also looking at a Kaizen event so that we can do an efficient process of adding the equity lens to our processes. And we're also going to have the mid-year equity summit. Last year was in June. We're looking at it at a similar time. Last year was in person. We capped it at 50 participants. This year, we're looking at it virtual. We're planning to alternate. So but being virtual, we'll plan to hopefully double that participation. And finally, based on the train the trainer, we're also going to be creating our schedule for those trainings in the latter part of the year. We're ready.
Are there any questions for Lenora? A few updates to share. I'd like to begin first by recognizing yesterday we launched the county's first Welcome Center. And good media coverage of this. Very excited that this new approach will lead the county into, I think, a national space that is really ethnicity, race, immigration status forward, where we are saying to the nation that we are a place where folks want to be, and when they come here, they should have easier access to our benefits, services, and a path to like quality life. So we kicked the opening of this off yesterday in a space formerly known as the Old Brooklyn Neighborhood Family Service Center, but is now referred to as the Welcome Center. And this is a service that will begin on Tuesday, next Tuesday. It will be offered from, in essence, 9:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. And we'll be partnering with an organization called Resource, formerly known as Refugee Response. Refugee Response has been contracted through development funding and leadership and health and human service funding to create navigators that help new residents to the county find out what benefits and services are available to them, how they can find employment, address housing barriers and other barriers that they experience. And so the service is actually in play today, as we have an event at that location targeting Afghan refugees and immigrants. And this is something we're really excited about. I want to just first thank Chris Ronayne for his support, our county executive. This is something that he ran on. He said that this is a priority for him to make the county more welcoming. And he pushed on this, and we were actually able to establish a new national certification as a welcoming community. Second county in Ohio, one of the few counties in America that have now been designated a welcoming community. So very thrilled and very grateful for Chris for his support and leadership, and outstanding event, more to come on it. As it relates to that, we'll actually be launching an RFP later in this year. We at in Health and Human Services have a contract for language access that we utilize when we're interacting with our residents and our clients. And that language access contract is actually leveraged by almost every other county department. And it becomes the language access contract that is available when someone needs an interpreter or someone needs a translator. And that contract is due this year, and an RFP will be released. I share this with this group because part of our intent is to certainly meet the compliance responsibilities that exist for us. We actually are held to a high standard by the federal government as well as the state as it relates to civil rights and ensuring that our clients have full access to service regardless of their language. And but we want to go beyond that expectation and actually start to address culture, the culture of our employees, the culture of our interactions with the public and communities, and try to have this be a much more inclusive and easier to access office environment. So this is a very exciting service we'll be launching, or a very exciting RFP we'll be launching in the coming months. A few more. So I want to also thank Sarah Namasil and as well as Nora Hurley in the law department. We completed our negotiation with AFSCME 1746 just a bit ago. And there are other negotiations, and this is a long-standing partnership. I'd want folks to understand that this is the largest collective bargaining agreement within Health and Human Services, and I believe within the county.
Yeah.
And what I appreciated was HR's coming to the table with comps from around the state that really pointed to our ability to offer the same high-quality compensation and total benefit package to our peers. And I think it's something we should be proud of, is saying that we offer as good, if not better. And our employees and our residents deserve good jobs. And I just want to thank Sarah, Nora, and the rest of the team that helped us negotiate with our partners in AFSCME. I think they were good partners to negotiate with as well. And I think we're grateful to move forward. Two final sort of programmatic announcements. I want to first recognize that as the county has charter language around voting access and voting rights. This is a part of our charter. We have actually begun to pilot and have a new approach where we're going to be looking to have some part-time staff employed by the county that will be in the community doing voter awareness and voter access, voting right access. These are Health and Human Service employees. We already have a service and then a team that does this. We're going to grow it this year and see how it goes. And so I want to make it available to any of our partner agencies. If you have a community event, if you're out in the community and Board of Elections is very busy right now, and you see a place for us to come forward and have a table that really talks about SNAP, talks about Medicaid, can also talk about voting, the opportunities for our residents to vote. And it's a service that is now beginning in the next couple weeks. Please let us know if there's a way to partner. Last thing I just want to acknowledge is how the new wellness platform is functioning. I think HR did an outstanding job listening to feedback from user departments, and some of the past applications I think were well intended. There was some good effort in it, and but I think they made a switch to a new vendor that seems to be much more responsive and innovative in how they're presenting services, and more importantly to me, drawing connections as I'm able to connect with employees from around the county. Although I do take some slight exception to a former colleague, Jamila, who's beat me in steps last weekend, I think. But it's nice to see and support one another as we all kind of get on this wellness journey. So I think that's the last of my updates. I do have to apologize. I'm going to be stepping out in about 15 minutes to get to another public meeting that I have to get to. So I think at that point I'll turn the mic over to Lenora. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do that now so she can run the balance of the meeting and I can slip out at about 20 till. So unless there are any questions on any of the things that I shared.
Not a question, but a comment. Congratulations on the Welcome Center. That really is a remarkable initiative, and I know your team worked really hard, and the executive as well to get that done. So I think it's something we should be really proud of. So congrats, David.
Yes.
And also, in terms of the ASME contract, HHS leadership, including David, was also very invested in that process. And negotiations can take a lot of time. So, I think the reason why we were able to really negotiate a great contract was, everybody being all in. So, thank you for that as well. And for everyone on my team, it certainly was a united effort. And to your point about the executive, really being committed to becoming a certified welcoming county and everything, I wanted to thank the executive and the administration too for their support with the paid parental leave, because it really was, it was pretty seamless because, this administration, equity is very important to them. They also walk the walk. So it was seamless to get that done, and same with council. So, just thanking everyone for their support.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Lenore, I'll turn the meeting over to you this time.
Thank you, David. And the next item on the agenda, if there are any additional comments from colleagues. Okay. As part of the commission, we all have areas of focus within our departments, and we want to make sure that we're bringing to the public and to each other knowledge about the good work at advancing equity that's going on in the county. So today's first topic, I'm going to turn over to Vaughn Johnson. It's a topic related to how we're having an economic impact on MDEs.
Thank you, Director Lockett. Before I introduce our speaker, I just wanted to mention that I'm joined today by our newly minted Economic Development Analyst intern, Jacob Bean. And I wanted everyone to really meet Jacob because he worked on two significant projects, one of which that led to our department being awarded a National Economic Development Award, where when the stimulus grant closed, part of what we were supposed to do is do follow-ups with all of the stimulus grant winners. And that project was assigned to Jacob. Jacob contacted every one of them, 67 or 68 winners, captured all the information, all the stories, and that helped to form our application when we submitted it for the award. And I really believe that Jacob's work and that with that project actually helped us to win that award. So I just want to recognize Jacob. He's been doing a tremendous job. He's now our official intern in the Department of Development. So one of the things I wanted to do, a lot of times the commission will hear from me and I will give updates about what our partners are doing. So I thought this year, instead of you hearing updates from me, I would actually have one of our capital partners come in and talk to you about how they've leveraged the resources that the county has provided them and what they've been and how they've supported MBE efforts throughout Cuyahoga County. And with that, I would like to introduce Kwame Bachwe, the Director of Community Impact and Innovation with Village Capital Corporation. Kwame?
Yes, thank you. Well, good morning. It looks like there's a lot to be proud of and to celebrate at the county, so I just want to say congrats on all the things, especially with the Welcome Center. Being a newcomer to this region myself and being on the board of Resource Cleveland, I just want to say I'm grateful for this particular initiative and grateful to have a county executive that is committed to issues of immigrants. And also thank you to you, Mr. Vaughn Johnson, and your team for the continued support of our organization and the work that we are doing. So again, good morning. My name is Kwame Bachwe. I'm here representing Village Capital Corporation. I'm going to speak briefly about who we are, so you know the context under which we operate. So Village Capital Corporation, we are a CDFI and a subsidiary of Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, and we've been in this area for over 32 years at this point, and primarily we've been working in real estate finance and supporting development projects across the region. But with support such as what the county has offered us, we've been able to expand the range of services and products that we have to include now small business lending and technical assistance. So I'll be sharing a bit more about that as well. So Village Capital Corporation, as I mentioned, we've been on this equity journey for some time now. Matter of fact, it's part of the reason I was hired to the organization to help lead this effort and be intentional and double down on what it is we are doing. So for the last 5 years or so, we've been very intentional in our programming and the products that we are developing, and very intentional in the equity lens that we are applying to the work that we are doing. All of this led to, in 2021, we're selected by the International Economic Development Council as part of a cohort of 5 organizations from across the country. And we were the only CDFI and probably one of the smallest in the group. And this led to the development of an equity action plan, which we are in the process of implementing now. Okay, so what are some of these commitments that I am speaking of? So first, we have a number of programs and initiatives that we've been running for the last few years now, of which the county support and the funding that was provided has helped us seed and support and operationalize some of these equity initiatives that we have. So the first one is Grow You, of which we have the Black Woman-Owned Business Accelerator. I'll speak a bit more in detail about what Grow You is. The second is the Cleveland Equitable Development Initiative. The third is Contractors on the Rise. And then the fourth is the engagement or continuing engagement that we have with the IEDC. So Grow You, we call it the Grow University. So this acts almost like a university for small businesses. So in the end of 2022, we brought on board a small business coach that is providing technical assistance in terms of a range of different services. So business plans, capital readiness, loan readiness, connecting small businesses that are coming through the door at VCC to other service providers to make sure that there's better coordination across the space, so there's no duplication, but rather we are complementing the efforts of the different organizations that we have. Grow You also has within it the Black Woman-Owned Business Accelerator, where we are helping early stage women entrepreneurs and their businesses to take their businesses to the next level. So through this program of work, as I mentioned, we are providing the capital readiness to organizations. So the one-on-one coaching that a business coach is providing to them and making sure that we are connecting them to capital sources within our own CDFI, but also making referrals to other funders within the space where they could get the support that they need. And so as part of this work also, what we've done is that we are building some sort of referral network. So when small businesses are coming to other organizations within the space, and those organizations do not have the resources or this particular skill set to serve what that business needs and VCC has, that they are able to provide those referral links, and vice versa. For us as well, when small businesses come to us and we provide them what we can, but know that a different organization can do it better than we are doing in a particular subject area, we are making those connections and building those relationships as well. Through the Grow You program also, what we've been trying to do is that we know how busy small businesses can be and how time can be a constraint. So one of the things we've been working on now is working closely with the community development corporations that are in the region and taking this effort to the doorstep of the small businesses. So one of the things the small business coach is doing now is going to be setting up small business clinics at various CDCs, so the small businesses are not having to leave their neighborhoods to come seek the support and the services that they need, but we are bringing it to their doorstep. And again, all of this was made possible. And matter of fact, we launched the Grow You program with the support of the county funding that was provided, and now we are in the process of scaling that. Contractors on the rise. I call this program my baby because it's the program that brought me to Village Capital Corporation. So I think we mentioned early on, and Vaughn alluded to this, that you are working with minority developers, but anybody within the real estate space here knows that we have serious challenges with diversity within the space. And even more so, we have challenges now with pipeline development. And these challenges are even more acute when you look at minority and women contractors and developers in the space. So what the Contractors on the Rise program does is that we have a curriculum that we provide to minority and women real estate contractors. And then we set all of them up with a line of credit, because we also know the challenge in access to capital. And we make it so flexible that in the capital that we are providing, for instance, we are not asking for credit scores as a basis for the loan decision making that we make for these small contractors. What we do is, even when we ask for their credit scores, we do a soft pull so it doesn't impact their credit, and try to connect them to other organizations where they can help to build their credit if it's not strong. And we have monthly workshops that we have with these contractors, and we are doing everything from setting them up with QuickBooks so they can improve their accounting system, so they can better report and track their business finances and do their taxes, and all of those are basis for developing better bankability as they grow. We are connecting them to organizations such as the Land Bank, the City of Cleveland, and other cities within this the county, to make sure that they are looking at and seeking out opportunities in some of these places. So currently we have 7 contractors in the cohort. This is our second cohort that would be ending later this year, and then we are making plans to launch a third one. So we've had 3 cohorts up to this point, and we have constructed over 22 also houses. And right now I have at least 7 projects that are under construction. And it's not just in the city of Cleveland. I have projects in Shaker Heights, Cleveland Heights, Maple Heights. So it's spreading a bit more into some of the inner ring suburbs. Okay, so building on this, we know that contractors is small, but the developers that are going to work on the larger multifamily or residential and commercial projects, there's a big gap there as well. So over the last year and a half or so, we've been working with our partners at Cleveland Development Advisors, which is also a CDFI under the Greater Cleveland Partnership that works across the region to develop this Cleveland Equitable Development Initiative. And similarly to the Contractors on the Rise program, this provides a structured curriculum that we brought a national partner to help facilitate and run for these developers. We have a cohort of 15 emerging Black developers that are in this program currently. And the goal is that by the time this is coming to an end, we'll be able to connect them to capital sources so they can find the funding that they need, build relationships with local funders, and also the local government entities, so including the county, including the city of Cleveland, the Port of Cleveland and all the other entities, so they have that social network to be able to grow their development company. So this is a program that we are in the first cohort now. This first cohort will be ending later this year, and then we are planning to launch the second cohort in October, thereabout. And so this is a program that we are really excited about, and we are making this a more comprehensive strategy. So we do plan to convene stakeholders, which would include the county, as well, to drive equitable development across the space. So not just the training program, but access to capital, how do you navigate the ecosystem, and some of the other policy advocacy that needs to happen to drive, equitable development across the region. Okay, so what has been in all of these things that we've been doing? What are some of the milestones that we've celebrated since our first funding that we received from the county? As I mentioned, this funding or support that we received helped us launch the Grow You program, which we are scaling now and creating, greater synergy with community partners to ensure that small businesses are getting all the support that they need. That is one of the things. We've been able to leverage this funding, so in the other, funders and conversations that we've had and applications that we've made, we've been able to provide or state the county funding as a leverage to be able to draw additional funding from different places. And this includes a recent $2.5 million allocation from the city of Cleveland through APA. And I think I may have understated the $3 million there, because there's a lot more that we've been able to leverage this funding for to be able to drive the work forward. As I mentioned, we've been able to expand our staffing. So we hired a small business coach that is on staff at VCC to provide the services that are needed. Since we got that first funding, we've been able to assist over 100 businesses, small businesses, of which almost 92% of those are minority owned and led. What I want to mention is, I think traditionally, because we've done real estate for the larger part of our organizational existence, a lot of the businesses that we've worked with have been white. And so being able to drive some of these equity programs have helped us to diversify our own client pool and portfolio. So this has been very helpful for us to ensure that there's diversity within the work that we are doing. We've been able to commit over $3.6 million in loans to MBE. So this includes the line of credits that we have for the people in Contractors on the Rise. We've been working with a small a black restaurant now in Lee Harbor that is under construction. We've been able to make over $2.7 million in loans. So these are projects that we've actually financed that have been constructed across the region. Through the Contractors on the Rise program, so far we have over 22 single-family homes. That is including those under construction now, that has been all across the region. So City of Cleveland and some of the inner ring suburbs. I wanted to share some just 2023 highlights, because we just finished our impact report. So last year, we made over 80% of our loans to BIPOC-owned businesses. We are supporting currently over 22 new emerging minority contractors that's enrolled in the EDI program and the core program. We've been able to raise over $3 million to support minority businesses. So this includes funding that we've had leveraging the county funding that we have. We've made 100% grants to women-owned businesses, because one of the things we learned was that businesses come and sometimes it's not, what they need is not debt. What they need is grants. And so when we make that determination, we make sure that we support them in that way. We've been able to maintain over 60 jobs through a lot of the funding that we've provided. Over 105 units of housing has been created or maintained. We've been able to deploy over $5 million in capital across our portfolio. Last year, you see that significant portion of that went to BIPOC. We've been able to provide over 150 hours of coaching and counseling to 35 new small businesses that have come through our door, and we've been able to create or preserve over 170,000 square feet of commercial space across the region, which is further developing, driving the economic development that we want to see across the region. So having said that, I talk fast, so I will pause now and see if anyone wants any clarification or questions.
I unfortunately have to step out at this time. I'm sorry to leave in the midst of your presentation, but it's very impressive. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. If you don't know Kwame, get to know him. He is a rising star in this space, in economic development, small business, real estate lending. I'm sure in a few years, Kwame will be running some corporation or something, but he is somebody to watch. So Kwame, thank you so much. I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but keep an eye on Kwame and Jacob as well.
I just have one quick question. First one,
Yes.
Kwame, it's awesome to see the variety and the impact and that strategic opportunities for companies on a rise, companies that are doing, maybe they can't do a subdivision of houses, but they can do single house, the opportunities to grow with support. My question is, how do you find the companies, or how do they find you?
So in the lineup, so different strategies for contractors on the rise. Contractors on the rise, we relied largely on other contractors that we've worked with to provide, introductions to other contractors that they know within the space. So throughout the year, I'm having conversations with contractors almost every time. Different events that I go to, I'm handing out my card and making sure that I'm keeping a database of contractors. So we have sort of a database of different contractors that we've spoken with. So when we open applications, I reach out to all of them and do an information session to make sure that we are getting the word out there. When we're doing the recruitment for EDI, we made sure that we leverage the media resources that we have. So there were articles in Cranes and Cleveland.com, and we're sending out newsletters and relying on other partners to connect us to different people within the space. So that's been largely the strategy that we've used.
And if I could just add to that, Director, one of the things that we do at the county is we receive calls all the time and inquiries through our website, and where appropriate, we make those referrals to Village Capital.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Did anyone else on the commission or the public have any comments? Okay, well, thank you, and very inspiring. Next on the agenda, we have the College Now program. They're a repeat presenter. As was previously discussed, we need to nurture all phases of the pipeline. This program, and I'll let them go into it deeper, is how we nurture that pipeline when people are in their youth and support them in their early stages of their endeavor. So today we have Kenise Williams and Nikki Price with College Now.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Nikki Price. I'm the Mentoring Recruitment Manager. I'm joined by my colleague, Kenise Williams, who is the Senior Mentoring Recruitment Coordinator. And I just want to be very mindful of time, give a brief overview of College Now, also give a little bit of a report out on the benefits and the outcomes that we've seen in the past year, because frankly, the county has been such a big supporter of College Now and Say Yes, so a little bit of a report out, and then ask, and then again, I do have an ask, so as we typically do. So thank you. So College Now, as you all probably know, is a local nonprofit that serves the greater Cleveland area and the community. So our mission is to increase post-secondary attainment throughout college and career advising. We do financial aid counseling, scholarship, and mentoring services. It is not simply about college, though. I want to be very clear about that. It is about post-secondary attainment. So that can be credentialing, that can be stackable credentials, that can be an associate's degree, that can be a 4-year degree. That is whatever the specific student needs. Okay, so I want to be very clear on that. I want to also kind of, as I said, do a little bit of report out. So as I shared, it is not just about a 4-year graduation rate, but this number is responsive to that graduation rate. So our on-time graduation rate here in Cuyahoga County, as is reported by Team NEO's, Aligning Opportunities report, is low. I think 65% is the number that we're all striving for, and as we disaggregate that data and we break it down, when we look at students in the BIPOC space, their completion rate is lower than our white student. So when we look at that, we have some concerns. But when we look at all students who attend a four-year institution from any background, their graduation rate last year was 62%. Then when we look at Pell eligible students, and those are students in the lowest quartile, right, who are receiving Pell assistance from the federal government, their graduation rate is 45%. That's concerning. That means that our students who need the most assistance, who are facing some of the greatest challenges, are not completing and not walking away from their institution with that credential. That's a call to action. So College Now created the mentoring program, and we are happy to say that with our mentoring program, all of our students are Pell eligible, and we graduate our students at a 71% rate. All of our students are Pell eligible, so by and large, they should be graduating at a 45% rate. But because of the social and emotional support of our mentoring, along with the financial assistance of our scholarship, they're graduating at 20 percentage points higher. So that's a little bit of a report out for you. But we're not doing it alone, and I want to make sure that I give everyone the credit there. As you can see, we're all working together, and of course, the county is on there because we couldn't do it without you. All of the partners together are working together to, again, move the region forward in order to, again, make a stronger economy. Forward. Go ahead. Thank you. So how does it work? What are we doing? We started just about 10 years ago with only 43 students and mentors, but now we've grown to 1,700 students and mentors. We onboard 600 students annually and 600 mentors. It is a one-to-one match. We match a student and a mentor every year as the student is graduating from high school and matriculating into college. We do ask that the mentor stay with the student, much like the Say Yes financial assistance and the College Now scholarship stays with the student throughout their post-secondary experience. We ask that the mentor partner with the student for that same time frame. So it is a multi-year match, but on the day-to-day, it's not that heavy of a lift. It is 2 messages per month over a virtual platform and 3 meetings per academic year. Those meetings can be virtual, they can be in person. College Now provides the curriculum to meet. It also provides opportunities to meet. Now, do pairs sometimes meet beyond that? Of course, but at the minimum, it is 2 messages per month, 3 meetings per year. Our mentors all do have college degrees because 75% of our students are first-generation college students. They don't have anyone in their close circle that they can ask questions of. So we find that it's imperative that our mentors have that experience from that post-secondary experience that our students can go to have that support. Thank you. And again, the proof is in the pudding. The number is 71% of our students who are mentored graduate on time. We do, again, also find that a regional impact of graduation and having a strong workforce, the brain drain is a concern. The more students we can graduate and stay in the county is imperative. And as a matter of fact, 75% of our students are county residents. So while College Now isn't just a Cuyahoga County institution, we do have students who are in Medina and Summit. 75% of our students are Cuyahoga County students. And then, of course, our mentors. It's not just about the student, it's also about the mentor. And so we have over 500 local corporations, community organizations who we partner with to bring mentors into our fold. And that's why I'm here today. I'm so excited to hear about the development of affinity groups. That is a place that we have found wonderful alignment with local corporations in presenting to ERGs. Those resource groups that support our BIPOC students, our LGBT plus students, that is a place that we often find many of our mentors. So I'm super excited to hear about that in the county. Would love to connect about that when those are up and running, because this is a great opportunity for not just seasoned professionals to become mentors, but also new professionals to become mentors. This is a great way to develop and flex mentorship skills in a very initial way. It's practicing mentorship and developing those professional skills that they need moving forward. We also know, again, that many of our mentors, it touches their lives. And I just wanted to put a few quotes up on the board about that. The depth and breadth of our mentors, it's not just about engineers, it's not just about healthcare. We have all sorts of professions in our mentorship program. We connect our mentors and our students based not just on professions, not just on the schools that they are attending, but again, on their interests. And we do believe that we are developing close connections. The steps in order to become a mentor, we're trying to make it as seamless and integrative as possible. So we do have an application process. Folks apply, there is a 30-minute phone interview, and then there's a 30-minute virtual orientation. I'm happy to say that right now we have about 40 county employees that are mentors with us. We'd love to see that grow. So I would ask those of you in attendance to perhaps take this back to your departments. I do believe our cards are on your table. Perhaps if you're not the appropriate point of contact, putting me in touch with someone within your department, I can do a quick 5-minute pitch. I can do a longer lunch and learn. But again, bringing the opportunity to your team is something that I would request, because 75%, this is the other piece and really why I'm here, 75% of our students identify as BIPOC. We do not have parity in our students to mentor matching. We really do need to grow the BIPOC mentor numbers, if that is possible within the county, so that and within the region, so that those shared lived experiences can be, again, shared with our students. We're so grateful for each and every one of our mentors, but there's something to be said for our students having a mentor where they have those shared lived experiences. And so we just like to bring those numbers a little bit closer. This is a quick QR code. If anyone would like more information, please take a quick picture. I know that this is being streamed, so if we can leave this up for just a quick second, folks can just go ahead and take a picture, and I can get back in contact with them. And then I believe the next slide is my contact information, and happy to take any questions.
Great presentation. College Now has been presenting to us in the early part of the year, a couple of years. I do recall that there are deadlines. Could you try to match them?
Well, in the past, there was a deadline. So we actually have changed a little bit. We are recruiting for mentors all year long, because we're finding that we have students who are coming into our program across the whole year, not just in the academic year. So we don't really have a deadline. But if you'd like to make sure that you are matched with a student that is just graduating from high school, then I would say make sure you apply by May so that you can get matched with a new high school graduate that's going off to college, over the summer. But we can definitely take applicant mentors across the calendar year and match you with the student across the calendar year.
Awesome, okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Again, thank you for always being open to presenting, to make sure we keep the word and information about the need for the mentors, the positive experience, especially as it relates to helping the kids, the youth succeed in their educational endeavors. Questions? Okay, thank you. We'll definitely share that information. Are there any comments from my colleagues or closing remarks?
No closing remarks from me. Thank you.
I'm just continue to be encouraged by what I see and what I hear. There's a new energy in the room, and hearing from all the different departments is extremely inspiring.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Fund. I echo your sentiments, and thank you, Kwame, Nikki, and College Now,
Yes.
and Village Capital for coming. It's always wonderful to learn about, what our partners are doing and how we can help.
Definitely. I think I agree with the previous comments. It's good to hear what each of my colleagues in their areas, how we're applying the equity lens within our department's missions, and also to hear how there are partners, similar entities with that passion to advance equity and inclusion. And I do want to mention a save the date. You were on this call also. This is related to health equity. Save the date for the Minority Men's Health Fair. It'll be April 27th, Saturday, April 27th. It's going to be in 2 locations, Metro Health Cleveland Heights Medical Center and the Tri-C Metropolitan Campus. There are opportunities to have various health screenings. There will be enrichment activities, wellness sessions, other community resources, guest speakers, and they're planning a job fair. The registration should be up soon if it's not already. But again, it's Saturday, April 27th. So that's just an opportunity with Metro Health as part of a health equity initiative. And while the focus is minority men's health, it is participants could be any gender and race. All right, so if there are no additional comments, do I have a motion to adjourn? Or do we just adjourn? I can't remember.
Motion. I did motion.
Okay, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Can I take this one?